Chapter 2105, Concentrating Forces 4. They were very concerned about Zhang Yi's actions. After all, Zhang Yi was now the Huaxu Kingdom's top fighter, and whichever direction he went in would have a significant impact on the entire Huaxu Kingdom. Zhang Yi was uninterested, and when he asked other questions, Meng Yuanjun and Shang Daowen always managed to avoid sensitive topics. Zhang Yi gradually found it a little boring. At a time like this, they were still hiding things from him. However, from Meng Yuanjun and Shang Daowen's perspective, it was understandable. To Zhang Yi, people without value were like a piece of tofu that fell under the table while eating. Not only did he not care about them, but they were a nuisance to him. When Yang Xinxin came out of the Earth God's temple, Zhang Yi glanced at her and saw a special glow in her eyes. Zhang Yi didn't ask any questions, but took Yang Xinxin with him and said goodbye to the others. "Xinxin, let's keep in touch," Guan Longyue said. Yang Xinxin just nodded faintly. After the two of them left Shenzhen City, Zhang Yi asked Yang Xinxin, "You stayed in the room for 2 hours. What were you doing?" He glanced at Yang Xinxin curiously, then asked carefully, "Is it okay to talk about it? If it's not convenient, then never mind." Yang Xinxin raised her head and met Zhang Yi's eyes. "Brother, you're talking strangely." "Ha ha ha. It's nothing, it's nothing." Zhang Yi rubbed his head and laughed. Yang Xinxin didn't hide anything from Zhang Yi and told him everything. After listening, Zhang Yi immediately said, "I knew it. The Shenzhen region has had a close relationship with the Dragon Clan of Qinling Mountain for many years. They have also received many benefits from them." He didn't care about other people's secrets, but if the Shenzhen region decided to join the war, Zhang Yi would have to force them to provide more troops and weapons. "Where's our next stop?" Yang Xinxin asked. "Let's go to the northeast region," Zhang Yi said. Zhang Yi was very confident that the southwest region and northwest region would help them. In the southwest region, the Undertaker and his brother had both received Zhang Yi's kindness, so the entire southwest region owed Zhang Yi a favor. They would definitely not refuse to send troops. As for the northwest region, Xiao Liu had just come to power and his position was not yet secure, so he urgently needed the recognition of other regions, especially Zhang Yi. As for sending troops overseas, they only needed to dispatch some of their troops and sacrifice the Reaper of Love. With the consent of the other regions, Xiao Liu should also agree. Needless to say, the East Sea region was now determined to fight the Wulwan Empire. So now, it was up to the Northeast region and the National Protectorate Army. Zhang Yi turned on his communication device and first contacted Han Shanzhua, the god Luya. The old commander of the Northeast region, Ji Changhai, was old and had suffered from wind and cold during the previous battle, so he had already handed over much of his power to Han Shanzhua. Basically, Han Shanzhua's nod would seal the deal. On the screen, the familiar fat man with a crew cut and leather jacket appeared before his eyes. "Hey, isn't this chaos? Long time no see, why didn't you come find me for a drink?" Zhang Yi laughed, "I was just about to come find you." Upon hearing this, Han Shanzhua's expression suddenly froze. That's great. When are you coming over?" "Right now, I'll be there soon." Han Shanzhua could hardly contain the complex emotions on his face. "Are you in that much of a hurry? What's the big deal? Just give me a call. No matter what the problem is, I'll take care of it for you." Zhang Yi's tone became cheerful as he said loudly, "All right, I'm relieved to hear that. I happen to need your help with something, but it looks like I don't need to worry about it anymore, ha ha ha. Wait for me, I'll be right there." After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he ended the call. At this moment, Han Shanzhua, who was in the northeast region, was completely confused. "No, I was just being polite. Why are you being so ungracious?" Han Shanzhua had a headache at this moment. He knew very well why Zhang Yi was looking for him. It must be because of the Wulwan Empire's attack on the coast. Either he wanted to borrow supplies or troops. However, Han Shanzhua felt that this matter was not worth the trouble, and giving anything would be a waste. But he had no choice, Zhang Yi was too powerful now, and he couldn't afford to offend him. For a moment, Han Shanzhua sat on the sofa and sighed deeply. At this moment, he was in the training hall in the northeast, training a group of newly trained mutants. Seeing Han Shanzhua like this, the leader of his 5 immortals in the northeast, the Fox Immortal Hu Mengfang, gave a few orders to the new recruits to practice on their own, then walked over. "Brother Shan, what's wrong? You look worried, did something happen to your wife?" Han Shanzhua looked up and glared at the young man. "What are you talking about? Get lost." Hu Mengfang laughed and didn't take him seriously. Instead, he sat down next to Han Shanzhua. "Tell me what's wrong, maybe I can help you." Han Shanzhua then told him about Zhang Yi looking for him. After listening to this, Hu Mengfang's eyes darted around. Although he was Han Shanzhua's younger brother, he was smarter than Han Shanzhua, otherwise he wouldn't be able to secure the position of Han Shanzhua's right-hand man. Chaos is coming, and he's famous all over the world. Everyone is rushing to curry favor with him. We mustn't offend him. What if we run into trouble one day and need him to help us settle things? Han Shanzhua glared at him and frowned. "Nonsense, do you think I don't understand? But the problem is that he's in big trouble, and with my limited forces, I can't help him. I'm afraid we'll just be throwing our lives away for nothing." Hu Mengfang smiled and said confidently, "Boss, I don't think you'll lose out on this." "Huh?" Han Shanzhua glanced at him and asked, "What do you mean?" Hu Mengfang said, "Don't you know what kind of person Chaos is? He's clever and cunning, with more tricks up his sleeve than a lotus pod. When has he ever lost out or done anything impulsive? If he really wanted to fight with them, he would have killed them long ago. With the strength of the people in Tianhai City, why would they need to borrow troops from us?" Han Shanzhua listened carefully and thought about it. You know what, he had a point. The Huashu Kingdom only had so many resources, and the major regions were training their troops. There were only a few Epsilon-level mutants. What about Zhang Yi? He has fought in battles in the south and north over the years, and the reason he has so many elite soldiers and generals under his command is because he has been fighting overseas, experiencing battles large and small, and obtaining resources. In the northeast region, there are currently only 2 Epsilon mutants. One is him, and the other is the newly trained Hu Mengfang in front of him. Chapter 2106, Concentrate Forces 5. In Zhang Yi's eyes, this was not enough. Hu Mengfang continued, "So I think what they want is probably weapons and resources. Moreover, they came from the south and must first pass through major regions such as Shenzhen. Therefore, we don't need to rush into this. We can first see what the other regions' attitudes are. In addition, I have another idea." Han Shanzhua turned around and said, "Go on." Hu Mengfang smiled, "Don't forget that in addition to our Tiger Army, there is another force in the northeast." Han Shanzhua's eyes flashed with a strange color. "Are you talking about the Northeast National Protectorate Army?" In terms of strength, the Northeast National Protectorate Army was even more powerful than their Tiger Army. This was because the Tiger Army was mainly responsible for guarding the interior, while the Northeast National Protectorate Army was responsible for guarding the entire northern border. The Black Emperor Xuanzhu Qinshuanba was also far more powerful than him. They need to defend the northern border and don't concern themselves with anything else. How can they leave? Why can't they? Hu Mengfang curled his lips and slapped his thigh. "Have you forgotten? Last time Tianhai City defended against the invasion of the Wulwan Empire, didn't the National Protectorate Army participate? Moreover, the Fremons have just experienced a major battle, and now is the time for them to rest and recuperate. They cannot possibly pose a threat to our border. On the contrary, the war on the southeast coast is urgent. The National Protectorate Army protects the entire Huashu Kingdom, not just the northern border. Let's call Qinshuanba over first and see what he says. First, there will be more people and we will have a stronger presence. Second, if we really have to send troops, counting them in will share some of the pressure." The more Han Shanzhua listened, the more sense it made, and he couldn't help but smile and point at Hu Mengfang. "You really are a fox, you're so clever. I'll contact Qinshuanba right away and ask him to come over." the National Protectorate Army's northeast camp was not far from Fengtian City, so it wouldn't take too long to call Chen Xuanba. Han Shanzhua immediately contacted Chen Xuanba. After the communication was connected, Chen Xuanba's familiar low and cold voice came from the other end. "Hello, God Luya. What's the matter? Hey, old Chen, long time no see. Did you miss me? Use my code name in the army." Chen Xuanba said coldly. Names were taboo and usually only used by people who were very familiar with each other. Otherwise, it would be considered rude to call someone by their name in public. The reason for this was to avoid information leaks and being discovered by mutants with causal abilities. "Alright, Xuanqiu. Are you free today? Come to Fengtian." "What's the matter?" Chen Xuanba asked coldly. Although the two troops were close to each other, he was busy with military affairs and would never take the initiative to enter Fengtian City. "Chaos is coming. He wants to see us to discuss something important." Han Shanzhua's tone also became much more serious. When the name Chaos was mentioned, few people in the entire Huashu kingdom could remain relaxed. Upon hearing this, Chen Xuanba's cold eyes flashed with a sharp light. Chaos. Was it because of the Wulwan Empire's attack on the southeast coast? As a soldier, Chen Xuanba was also furious when he heard the news. However, he would not leave the northern border defenses until he received orders. Currently, although the 6 major regions of the Huashu kingdom were under separate jurisdiction, as long as the 6 major regions made a joint decision, he would follow the collective will of the higher-ups. "I understand, I'll be right there." Chen Xuanba ended the communication, put on his military coat, and walked out of his office. He spoke in a low voice into the communication device. "Xiao Hao, come here." Soon after, a young soldier with a straight posture and dressed in a white military uniform came before Chen Xuanba. "General. You wanted to see me. Come with me to Fengtian." With that, Chen Xuanba got into a military vehicle, and Xiao Hao hurriedly took the passenger seat. Han Shanzhua's words were full of loopholes, and Chen Xuanba roughly knew what the other party's purpose was. After all, if Zhang Yi really wanted to see them, he would definitely send a message to Chen Xuanba and would not let Han Shanzhua relay it. But Chen Xuanba didn't care about such things. What he wanted to know now was what Zhang Yi's plan was. Was he going to launch a counterattack against the Wulwan Empire? Before long, Zhang Yi arrived at Fengtian City. Fengtian City had also undergone reconstruction and now looked bright and shiny, appearing silver and white from a distance. Upon closer inspection, it had been transformed into a huge ice castle. The northeast was extremely cold, and the hard ice here was comparable to gold and iron, making it an excellent material for city defenses. The key was that it was inexhaustible and could be used endlessly. Adding a thick layer of hard ice to the existing reinforced concrete was really simple, convenient, and practical. When Zhang Yi arrived, he saw Han Shanzhua and Hu Mengfan coming to greet him. "Hey, Chaos, you're here. Welcome, welcome. I haven't seen you in a long time, I missed you so much. Why didn't you come visit more often?" Han Shanzhua greeted him warmly as soon as he arrived. "I've been a little busy lately, but as soon as I remembered, I came right over." Zhang Yi also smiled and exchanged pleasantries. Let's go inside and talk." "What a coincidence, as soon as I heard you were coming, Xuanqiu from the National Protectorate Army happened to be here. He wanted to see you so badly that I asked him to come over. You don't mind, do you?" Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. He had been wondering whether he should visit the National Protectorate Army. After all, they were responsible for the northern defense line, which was a very important task. But now that they had come, it would be good to meet them. After all, the more helpers, the better. The more troops, the greater the chance of victory, and the fewer the number of casualties. "Of course I'll meet them. Lead the way." The group happily entered the guest reception area. As soon as they entered the door, they saw Chen Xuanba with a man in a white military uniform already in the room. There was also the old commander of the Northeast, Qi Changhai, dressed in thick clothes, looking as if he had been stuffed into a chair. The two members of the National Protectorate Army were sitting down, Chen Xuanba at the head and the other at the lower end. Zhang Yi took a close look at the soldier in white and decided that he must be someone important. If he were a guard, he would be standing beside them, not sitting down. Moreover, Chen Xuanba had brought someone with him for such an important matter, so he must not be an ordinary person. He should be a newly trained elite member of the National Protectorate Army. When Zhang Yi entered the room, Chen Xuanba and Xiao Hao also looked over. Chen Xuanba's gaze was still as sharp as ever, like a wild eagle, his eyes like swords that could pierce through people. Xiao Hao's gaze was on Zhang Yi, somewhat excited and curious, but he hid it well. "Xuanqiu, long time no see." Zhang Yi smiled slightly. "Yes, long time no see." Chen Xuanba nodded slowly.